Top Chinese official has met Disney CEO Bob Iger in Beijing as the entertainment giant looks to strengthen its presence in China despite the ongoing US-China tensions. The meeting signals a softer tone from Beijing towards Hollywood, even as strict limits on foreign film imports remain in place, making China a complex but lucrative market for major US studios.
That's my job. Gone. And they're building a Spider-Man ride in Shanghai. That's not one person, that's the pattern. February 2026. Disney just cut hundreds of American jobs, fourth time in 12 months. ABC News, corporate operations, television divisions, all gone. Bob Iger, chief executive officer of the Walt Disney Company, wasn't at the Burbank campus when it happened. He was in Beijing. Official record, January 9th, 2026. Iger told Chinese leadership that Disney is, and this is a direct quote, confident in China's development and will continue to expand its investment. That's not a rumor, not a leak. His words. On record. While American workers got pink slips, Beijing got a promise. Now open your wallet. 2026. Peak single-day ticket at Disneyland. $224. One person, one day. Walt Disney World. $209. First time in Disney history, a single-day admission has crossed $200. The magic didn't get 4 times better. The price did. A family of 4 at peak pricing. $896 just to walk in. Before parking, before food, before Lightning Lane. And here's where it gets worse. Disney's Experiences segment just posted a record $10 billion in quarterly revenue. Record revenue. Record prices, hundreds of layoffs, all in the same reporting period, same company, same CEO. What Iger calls a transformation is costing American families and American workers at the exact same time. Here's what he doesn't want you calculating, where the money actually flows next. Let me show you the mechanism. But first, Iger set a $7.5 billion cost savings target. The fastest way to hit it? Cut U.S. legacy operations, linear television, corporate overhead, domestic media staff, the people who built the Disney brand for decades. In plain terms, the workers who made Disney a household name or the budget line being erased. Second, the capital freed by those cuts doesn't stay in America. It flows to high-growth international markets, specifically China. Shanghai Disneyland is getting a new Spider-Man-themed land, a 4th-themed hotel. International operating income from parks hit $1.8 billion in a single quarter, driven in part by Shanghai and Zootopia-related expansion. What that means for you, American job losses are helping fund Chinese theme park construction. Third, to cover the domestic revenue gap, because U.S. cable and TV ad revenue keeps falling, Disney raises what it charges you. Demand-based pricing. Peak days cost more. Previously included features become paid add-ons. Lightning Lane, which replaced a service that was once free, now costs up to $45 per person per day. The real cost is, you're paying a premium to compensate for a dying TV business while the capital flows to Shanghai. 3 moves, 1 result, you pay more. American workers have less. China gets new rides. Let me repeat that. 3 moves, 1 company, 1 CEO. And none of it is hidden in a memo or a leak. It's in the public filings. It's in the earnings call transcripts. It's in the Beijing press release. The receipts exist. You just have to put them in the same sentence. Now let's look at what Iger isn't saying. Disney has not publicly connected the China expansion to the domestic layoffs. No press release has drawn that line. Iger hasn't explained the trade-off in any earnings call or interview. The silence is the story. What Iger's team calls aligning resources with growth priorities actually means the division making money is in Shanghai and the division losing headcount is in Burbank and New York. Here's the part nobody's talking about. Disney's Experiences segment generated 71% of the company's total operating income in the same quarter it posted record revenue. 71% from one division. And that division just raised its prices again. That's not bad luck. That's a strategy. Imagine you're a family of 4 in Phoenix planning a summer trip to Disneyland. Peak day tickets at $224 per person. That's $896 before you've parked the car, bought a bottle of water, or paid for Lightning Lane. A single-family vacation now starts at well over $1,000 before the first ride. Picture this scenario. You're an ABC News producer with 15 years at the company. The fourth round of layoffs hits your floor. Your position is eliminated. That same month, images drop of Iger shaking hands in Beijing, pledging Disney's future to Chinese infrastructure with a smile on his face. You don't get a call explaining the connection. Nobody does. Imagine you're a mid-level Disney corporate employee. Record quarter announced. International revenues at all-time highs. Your department just lost 3 colleagues. The record profits did not protect their jobs. And now picture this. Iger earned $45.8 million in total compensation in fiscal 2025, according to Disney's SEC proxy filing. That's confirmed, filed, public record. A family buying 4 peak day tickets to Disneyland spends nearly $900 before entering the park. That is one arithmetic reality next to another. Put them in the same frame. Let them sit next to each other without editorial comment. The gap between those two numbers is not an accident. It's a policy. What Iger calls demand-based pricing actually means families who can only visit during school vacations, peak periods, pay the maximum rate by default. They have no off-peak option. Spring break is Tier 6. Summer is Tier 6. The price tier that sounds like a choice is, and for most working families, the only tier that exists. The hidden catch. Lightning Lane wasn't invented. It replaced something. For years, Disney guests could use a free skip-the-line system called FastPass. Iger's team retired it. What Iger's team calls a premium guest experience product is the same operational access you use to get for free, now sold back to you at up to $45 per person. They didn't add value. They monetized access you already thought you had. Under Iger's watch, things that were included are now sold. Things that were affordable are now tiered. And things that were free are now premium. What Iger calls optimization actually means a systematic conversion of included features into paid upgrades, targeted at the domestic consumer base that has the fewest alternatives. You're not going to take your kids to Universal and call it a Disney trip. Iger knows that. The pricing reflects it. Now, to be factually precise, Disney's $60 billion capital expenditure plan is a global investment. It funds U.S. parks too, including expansions at Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom. The China investment is a portion of a larger plan, not the entire budget. What is verifiable is the simultaneous pattern: domestic headcount reduction plus international reinvestment plus domestic price increases, all occurring in the same operating period. That pattern is not in dispute. It is documented in public filings. What Disney will tell you: this is strategic transformation, right-sizing, aligning with growth priorities. They'll say the China investment is about diplomacy and long-term market access. They'll say the price increases reflect the value of the guest experience. What they won't diagram: the 3-part mechanism running simultaneously. The job cuts funding the savings funding the international expansion, the domestic price hikes filling the gap left by a collapsing TV business, all 3 moving at once, all under the same CEO, all in the same quarter, all verifiable, all documented in public records. Iger isn't speaking publicly about the connection between these 3 events. He hasn't been asked in a way that required a direct answer. The numbers are speaking for him. Here's what to watch. And Disney's next quarterly earnings call will be the first test. Watch whether international experience revenue continues to outpace domestic operating income, and whether new language appears about cost savings targets beyond the $7.5 billion goal. Watch for any regulatory or congressional interest in U.S. media companies directing capital to China at a time of escalating trade friction. Watch consumer spending data during the next peak season, whether families at $200 a ticket keep showing up, or whether the attendance data begins to signal a breaking point. And watch whether a 5th round of domestic layoffs follows the same pattern as the first 4. The record revenues are real. The Beijing pledge is on the record. The pink slips are confirmed. Iger already told us exactly what he's building. He called it investment in China's development. He called it transformation. 4 rounds of American layoffs and a $200 ticket price later, the only question still open is what your family calls it. The next earnings call is coming. The next China announcement is coming. The next decision about where the capital flows is already being made. Watch what he says next. And watch what he doesn't.